how much stuff can I learn about this record still?
Well,
A lot, dude.
all the guest musicians that are on it, like there's a ton of
Right.
where they recorded it, and even the story behind Rancid in this time period. This is when they're in like their media blackout era. So
Mhm.
it's just everything you just sort of had to piece together.
Let's talk about the one that I have tattooed on my throat. Life Won't Wait. This album we have talked about quite a bit, but it's still, man, it's still just one of those records that you could just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper with this record and finding more stuff about it. It's layered like an onion, but it's an onion the size of a fucking basketball, dude. It's like how much stuff can I learn about this record still?
Well,
A lot, dude.
all the guest musicians that are on it, like there's a ton
Right.
of where they recorded it, and even the story behind Rancid in this time period. This is when they're in like their media blackout era. So it's just everything you just sort of had to piece together. I think the story is that Tim fell off the wagon in this time period.
Oof.
So he wrote this and 2000 kind of in isolation, and that's why those albums sound kind of extremes.
Well, no, this album didn't come out in 2000. It came out in 98.
No, I know, but I'm saying he wrote this one and 2000 in that.
Oh, and the album 2000. I'm tripping, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I was saying like this time period. And I don't know how true that was, but I remember that being like a thing back in the day that he had kind of fallen off the wagon a little bit in the late 90s, and so he was writing a little more in isolation. So that's why these records are more, I think, isolated. The two albums that they had of their versus they kind of go off of the like when they go Indestructible, like they're kind of picking up on the Outcome the Wolves track after the two album little like dip, not their dip in quality, but just different. Those two albums are different in between there.
Well, one of the last things that my father purchased for me, because I told you that he got me that poster and he got me this. One of the last things he bought for me before he passed away was in the Christmas season of '98. Was this T-shirt, and I managed to hold on to this one too. So
yeah.
I sleeved it when I was young, and I kind of regret doing it.
Yeah,
but I might make something out of this one because
that would fold out of the album, right? Or the CD, right?
Yeah, this was
it would fold
like
out,
the interior artwork for the record. Yeah,
I want to say I had that on my wall with those eyes and everything.
But those shirts are very important to me.
Yeah.
I can't wait till I'm almost down to the size where I can fit on that one and not look weird. I'm not.
Yeah.
I can wear the shirts. I've lost a lot of weight, man. I've hit 191 today, so I'm really happy.
Yeah, good job.
But yeah, I was 214 almost when we started this podcast. So 191 is a huge improvement. But that one, I don't like the way my body looks when I'm overweight when I'm wearing a sleeveless shirt. So I'd like to wear that one more time. Maybe go skateboarding or something like I used to do. So.
Cool.
Well, let's see. What are your okay? When you first heard this album, what did you think?
I was interested in it, but it was a little much for me. Like the first few times, I had to give it a few more spins.
That's a good description.
And it really, actually, if I recall correctly, I kind of didn't like it very much, and I just kind of had it. But you got to understand, kids, back in the day, even if you didn't like something, you only had like 9 CDs. So eventually, you kind of kept listening to it.
Preach.
And eventually, this one, because it's a little bit, it has to sort of like get inside of you a little bit before you really like it. And that's where, as I said, that back half of the album for me really is just where it picks up. Even though I look at my list, I have Hoover Street, and we talked about that song before. That's the spoken word kind of song that Tim does. And then I have 1998 and Leicester Square on mine. So I have a lot of that same kind of vibe of that back half. I would have taken Hooligans was also the other one that was like right there. So I had Hoover Street, Leicester Square, and 1998.
Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off like that. I just was making sure I remember the song.
No, and I was going to say Hooligans would have been like the other one that would have been like right there. I like Cash Culture and Violence. No, that's the wrong. I like Blood Clot. I was thinking of. I really do like Blood Clot. I like everything on that album. There's nothing I really don't care for the two love songs. I will say that. I don't.
Which ones?
Is it Corazon de Oro and?
I love that song.
Is there another one? And who would have thought? I just
don't care for those
songs as much.
No, I'm sappy, dude. You know me, I'm sappy. None of my top 3, but I love those tracks, man. When I first heard this album, I was really fortunate that I was already in like high school and I was listening to Rancid, and I had heard, I don't know where I heard it, but I heard that they had a lot of guest appearances on this record. I might have been seeing it in like a magazine or something, but I knew that it had Roger from Agnostic Front. I'm pretty sure he's on it. And Dickie Barrett was the one that I was excited about. Always been a good, huge Boss Stones fan. And I was really curious as to what they would sound like with him on a song. So I was open to this record from the get-go, excuse me, based on the amount of people that I liked that were also going to be on the record. And at that point in my life, I was listening to a lot, or I was trying to listen to a lot of reggae. And so I already knew who Buju Banton was before this record came out. So like, there's a lot for me to like dive into. And like you said, I didn't have a lot of albums. My record collection was probably somewhere in a 40, 50 total. And that include like all my shit back then in high school, bro. Maybe 50. And that's because I spent every dollar I had on music. So yeah, my top 3 off of Life Won't Wait are Hoover Street, Blood Clot, and my favorite song on that album is The Wolf, man. That song is so stinking good, bro. But Hoover Street is just an amazing story about a person that I can absolutely relate to. And every album that they have has a song that is like this sad story, like Basketball Diaries-esque. As a matter of fact, that's where the name Out Come the Wolves came from.
Yeah, I was going to say
Basketball Diaries.
That was
so
their
like,
vibe, yeah.
You can tell that that's their jam, dude. But Life Won't Wait, I think, is just, I'm not always in the mood for it. But when I'm in the mood for it, there is
when I need some quality. It's like you know, like a good meal. Like, you know, you can't eat like certain things all the time.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm in the mood for that good meal. Like, this is what I'm in for a quality meal. It's what I'm having, man. Hoover Street, I actually saw them years ago, like in the early 2000s. They played Hoover Street live, and you wouldn't think that song would translate live, and it just did. It just did. And again, that's a lot of spoken word, a lot of kind of that whisper kind of tone. As the joke I told you that I saw on the internet once, did Tim accidentally invent mumble rap? I don't know if we can blame that on him, maybe, but yeah, they played it live, and again, there was not as many people singing along to that one, obviously, and they kind of put it in one of those sort of dead spots of the show to bring everyone back up. But yeah, seeing that song live was a trip for me, you know, back in like 2006 or whatever. I think it was on the maybe on the Domino's tour, the tour they had, like the tour they did for B-sides and C-sides, even though they mostly just played, it was kind of the Indestructible tour.
Right.
Ended. It was that time period. That's when I fake killed my mom off to get off of work that day, and she got really mad at me because I said she got into a car accident or something, so I can go see Rancid.
Dude, yeah, man. Life Won't Wait is just like I said, man. When I'm not always in the mood for it, but when I'm in the mood for it, there is nothing that can replace it. There's nothing that is as good as it. It's when I need that album, and you know, nothing that can replicate it.